Ana Yepes, and I'm from Ecuador. I was 8 years old when I came from Ecuador. I came on a tourist visa with my family, my dad, my mom, my brother, and my sister. School here was a lot different. Over there, all schools wear uniforms. Here was a public school. We didn't have to wear uniforms. Obviously, language was much different. I didn't speak English, so I had to learn how to deal with the culture shock because it was different. It was different environment, different way of teaching, and just different. It was a little hard to deal with because at the beginning you feel like you're an alien. You're different. Nobody speaks the way you speak, and nobody maybe thinks the way you think. So to kind of come together with that was a little different. But of course, I was 8 years old, which it was a good thing for me because I was small, so I was able to come together with different culture, with this culture. I do miss my family over there. I think that was one of the hardest things for me here because over there I was surrounded by uncles, grandfather, grandmas, and cousins and stuff like this. When I came here, I was alone. I had a few cousins, but they lived far away, and I only had my mom, my dad, my brother, and my sister. And it was hard because I felt alone. My parents had 2 jobs because they had to, support me. It was a new country. They don't earn a lot of money, so they had to have 2 jobs each. So I was mostly by myself the whole day with my sister. So missing my family over there was the hardest thing. It took me like around 2 years to really get used to not having them in my life, especially my grandparents, which I didn't get to see my grandma again because unfortunately she passed away, but my grandpa, he came here once. So yeah, I think my family was the hardest thing for me. I started to realize the school was going to be a struggle for me was after high school when I had to start paying my tuition bills. So I went to a community college for 2 years. So that was a little less expensive for me. I had to pay out of pocket. So I graduated with an associate in social science. From there, I transferred my credits to Montclair State. And from there, I've been taking some classes, but it's a little difficult because I have to pay myself, and the classes are expensive. So I guess college would be where I found it a little bit struggling, just because money-wise. I have really supportive parents, but I need, I have to pay myself because they're not able to help me the whole way. So, okay.
I was 4 years old when I came to the United States. I was with my 2 older brothers, 2 uncles, and a few other people that were close to my family. I came here because my parents were here. Also because my grandparents had died, so nobody could take care of us back home. So that's a major reason why we came here. My life growing up here in the United States was pretty good. When I was younger, I would do normal stuff as any other kid would do. I went to school here. As I got older, it got harder because since I didn't have a social or something like that, I couldn't get my license or go back to school, college. So as I got older, it got difficult. When I graduated high school, I did want to go back to college, but the DREAM Act wasn't approved yet, so I couldn't sign up to colleges or go back to school, basically. I do want to go back to school. I want to have a career, and I want to have a job where I like. I haven't gone back to school because I still don't know what I want to do. So that's a major reason why I haven't gone, but I do want to go back to school, have a career, have a good job. Um, the DREAM Act means to me an opportunity to do things that I couldn't have done when I was getting out of high school. Like right now I have my license, I can go back to school, find a better job, do things that other people can't do. I was the first one out of my brothers to be approved with the DREAM Act, so it was a relief. My parents were proud. They want me to go back to school. Well, I got a lawyer, so he could do the paperwork. That way it could be easier. It wasn't expensive, but it wasn't cheap either. I had to pay a certain amount of money to apply. So it didn't take that long. It took like around about 3 months. There's a few processes that you have to go through. Like first, they have to fill it out. You have to have a high school diploma and certain other things. You have to work. Then after that, you get a notice which you receive for your fingerprints and your photo, so they can give you an ID. And then the last process is receiving your social security number, which you have to do that on your own. And then from there, you're basically set.
Hi, my name is Kamila Kolodinska. I'm a student at Montclair State University. I'm a senior. I'm a political science and jurisprudence major, and I came here 12 years ago from Poland, and right now I'm on F1 visa status. An F1 visa status is you're an international student that comes to the United States or any other country and you study there. So you have a visa status for as long as you're studying. Like let's say, for example, you're an undergraduate student, you come here for 4 years, and the intent is that you get an education here in the US and then you leave back to your country. It was actually very difficult when we first in Poland, when we went to doctors and we found out that my sister needed more close medical attention, and the only organizations and hospitals that would give her that attention were in the United States. We had to find a way and actually find a sponsor for us to be able to come here. So it was difficult first trying to find a sponsor, and then the process was also difficult to trying to get visas. We went to Warsaw, and the first time, I remember my dad, they gave him the visa to come to the US, but not us. So my mom was already here, so she came with my sister before us. And then my dad and us, we had to be taken out of school, so we had to be signed out of school first. So we had to leave later after my sister left. So getting the visas was kind of difficult. First we were denied, and then the second time my mom had to find more paperwork and documentation proving that we needed to be with them together as a family unit. So it was very difficult to try to actually be able to come to the country. Okay, so right now I'm an F1 international student, like I said. I'm on an F1 visa, and I have my status until I finish my studies. So let's say I'm a senior now, so I'm gonna finish in May of 2014. After that, I have the option of doing OPT, which is optional practical training, meaning that I would have to find a job in my field of study, so political science or jurisprudence. And if I can find a job, then I can get the work authorization to work here for 1 year. Now, some students are able to actually work for people that find their skills necessary to their job, so they'll sponsor them. So sponsor will, give you an H-1B. Well, they won't give you an H-1B, but you apply for the H-1B visa. And if you're granted the H-1B visa, you can later pursue the green card. So that's one option, so through work. Second option is marriage. So if I get married to a US citizen in good faith, you have to be married in good faith. You can't just, so that option. I'm only 22 years old, so I don't think that's an option. So work authorization is definitely work authorization, and then H-1B, and then possibly green card is my best option. Well, I think what I missed about Constitution Day is we've had a few questions during Constitution Day where students asked me about like the negative connotations to being an immigrant, and I did address that. And many of them have these perceptions of what it means to be an immigrant, and it's people that steal jobs from citizens of the United States. It's people that live undocumented on purpose or defy the law and don't pay attention to regulations of the United States, and that they should be deported. And I just want to say that immigrants want other people to look at them as equals, as people worthy of living here. Like that's all that we want, is people to recognize that we're not less than. Just because we don't have that piece of paper that says that we're U.S. citizens doesn't mean that we're any less worthy of living here than U.S. citizens. And may I add just a little, because this always frustrates me when people say, I'm a U.S. citizen, I am from here. But we all have to understand that living here in the United States means that at some point, someone from your family came here. Someone migrated here. So it's important for people to understand, although yes, you are a U.S. citizen, you might have had 3 generations of your family be here. At some point, someone did come here from somewhere else. That makes you an immigrant. Although indirectly, it makes you an immigrant as well. So that's all I wanted to say.
My name is Alyssa. I was born in Taiwan. I'm 20 years old, and my family and I came to America from Taiwan when I was 11. When I was in class, I didn't really know any English, so I try so hard to learn English as fast as I can and try to pick up on what other people are saying. And one day I overheard a guy next to me saying to this girl, "Can I borrow your pencil?" So after class, I practiced in the bathroom, on the way home, on the bus. And the next day I went to class. Even though I had pencils in my bag, I went to people, like in class, I'll poke them on the shoulder and I'll say, "Can I borrow your pencil?" And then they're like, "Oh, you can talk." When I first arrived, I didn't make a lot of friends when I first got there. So I kind of just be by myself for a while for most of the time. Like when I go to eat for lunch, my mom will prepare lunch for me. It was all Chinese food, and I bring it to the cafeteria. I sat down and ate, and people were making fun of me of how much it smelled, and so I just sat by myself. Back then, when I came here during like the 6th and 7th grade, I didn't feel welcomed at all. I felt like I was picked on all the time, and I didn't like my life back then. Well, I hate to say it, but my real name is Yi Ting Tang. Back in Taiwan, it's such a beautiful name, but when you come here, everyone kept making those silly Chinese name for me. It was really hard for me to cope. When professors are calling my name and they hear something different and they're like, "Oh, like haha, that's such a weird name. Like, who made that up? Like, why would your parents give you such a name?" So I want to officially change it to Alyssa Tang.